It is ecstatic. When Gor Mahia is playing AFC Leopards, well, that's a moment. We actually refer to it as the Mashemeji Derby. Last I checked, Kogalo Gor Mahia. You know, Viva. $1 million shillings to us there as a team and 500K to AFC Leopards. I don't know if you guys have a local team that you support. Maybe let's start off with Jane. Is there a team that you support?
I'm not gonna declare my stand on that.
Maybe Mike.
Because I'm not very big in football, so pass.
I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say I'm AFC all the way.
Pardon?
I'm AFC.
Shemeji.
Oh, you're a Shemeji.
I am.
I think we need to replace you guys as Mashemeji. 95 times we have met and you guys have not been able to beat us in the last 6 years. I mean, we need new Shemejis. I think we are taking up new recruits, or rather new Shemejis there. We are taking applications. Please send in your CV.
Which ones do you want to take? Sofapaka?
Sofapaka or even Tusker FC? No. Yeah, Tusker is something we can consider.
AFC, need a bit of a challenge.
But you know, the relationship between Gor and AFC is just like quote-unquote blood. Hiyo ni kitu iwezi isha. Shemeji all the way.
I remember when we have the Shemeji Derby and you know, fans all over. The social media is quite rife with so many memes. You'd see AFC Leopards fans going somewhere, ordering for some fish. Then you see Gor Mahia fans going somewhere, ordering for some chicken, and it's just banter left, right. And that's why I say I am happy that we are back where we are in as far as matters of local soccer is concerned, because for a moment there, it gave us some of us, you know, some headaches and anxieties, because if you look at those people who play for these local clubs, they go out of their way to train and be there, you know, juggling work, sometimes school, to play for these teams. But now if the league is in shambles, then they have nothing, nowhere to showcase their skills.
But it goes back to the management as well.
Now the management, that's the crux of the matter. We're waiting to see if this transition committee is going to help us go back to the glories, the 70s. The 70s and the 80s where soccer was soccer in Kenya.
All right. Na support Gor Mahia lakini umevaa blue.
Please.
Blue na represent AFC.
Blue is just but a color, my friend. Blue is just but a color. Actually, it does not represent any political affiliations.
Malifadhili yuko, he's very happy.
Blue happens to be a color enjoy. I actually have all those colors in check. It's just that I can't wear all of them here. So today
it is well, Regina.
Is a blue day.
Nesawa.
But hey, we ain't supporting AFC. Whoosh, no. We are green to the soul.
Hey, Regina,
green to the soul. Green to the soul.
Acha sasa tuangalie magazeti basi. Sindio? All right, so we start off with the Daily Nation. Of course, the front page is all about the Madaraka Day speech, especially so what the president had to say. It has been covered across about 7 pages, just breaking down the president's speech, understanding the different key areas that he pointed out, looking at his scorecard. And of course, people have come out to say so much about that, ranging from the roads, electricity, education, economy, healthcare, debt, among many other issues. That is actually the only thing that has been featured here on the front page of the Daily Nation, as well as the group of individuals who have been described as the undesirables by EACC. EACC issues the list of aspirants with integrity flaws, and now the question is, what's the way forward? To what extent will Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity be implemented, and especially so now that we are gearing for the general election? So I will be giving you these details as we move on with this segment. But first, what does the Star have for us, Mike?
On the front page of the Star, Uhuru silences Ruto in exit Madaraka feat. That's the front page of the Star. On the front page, of course, Iria, Kidero, Waiguru among 241 aspirants EACC once blocked from the polls. More on that later on. Still on the front page, holistic growth. President Uhuru Kenyatta slams CBC critics saying the curriculum is here to stay. We're going to have a discussion on that later on. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of opinions from either side on that one. Still on the front page of the Star, last but not least, tragedy as mom and two daughters burn in death in Uhuru home. It's very sad, sad. More on that later on. That was the front page of the Star. Doreen?
Oh, the dailies are so brief today. But I mean, it's just obvious we'd expect to have similar stories, given the fact that yesterday was Madaraka Day. And even when you look at the PD this morning, in fact, I should say like a bigger chunk is just cut out on what happened yesterday from the president just reviewing his legacy, what he's been able to achieve in this 9 years since 2013 up until, you know, when he's set to leave office. Again, clearly also the fact that there was that snub of the president to the deputy president, and just going by the header of what the PD is choosing this morning. Respect to that is that Kenya Kwanza leaders now rail at Uhuru for skipping Ruto, saying that actually accusing the president of using the Madaraka Day celebrations to humiliate the deputy president. Goes even to further say the fact that we had that is the Sierra Leone president, Bada Bio, who even acknowledged the deputy president, but was just so sad and bad and humiliating for the president not to acknowledge his second in command. We also have the story of what is happening in KBC County, where aspirants are now told to shun roadside rallies, saying that this rallies along the roads lead to congestion and obviously traffic snarl up. The story also concerning EACC, where they now demand that 241 candidates be barred from August elections, and obviously those names have been written down there, the names of all these aspirants ranging from governors to members of parliament, of course governors both sitting as well as former, who are vying for various seats, like I said, members of parliament, MCAs, senators, just clearly forming the list of this 241 that EACC now seeks IEBC to bar them from the August general elections, obviously citing integrity issues. Again, like I talked about, the fact that Madaraka Day celebrations, again, obviously dominating the bigger chunk of this paper, where healthcare topped Jubilee scorecard. And lastly, there is what the Ministry of Health is now saying in respect to matters tobacco, and whether this is even as the world marked the World No Tobacco Day in Tuesday, and now just going by the recent findings shows that youth stop tobacco abuse list. This is what a recent study is showing. Just saying that the ministry now says that 1 out of 10 adult Kenyans use nicotine products. And again, when we get the details, I'll just be telling you perhaps what the ministry is trying to do to ensure that they curb the menace that is tobacco in the country. Also looking at the fact that not just the youth who might be topping the list, but also part of what is coming out is that this also goes down to children as young as 6, 7, and even 8 years who are now engaging in tobacco abuse. Regina.
Sneak peek of the front page of the Standard reads similar to the rest that you guys have. Just going back to what happened yesterday, just looking at President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy there, the outlined projects and achievements that he highlighted. And on top of that, he talked about 11,000 kilometers of roads that have been built, tarmac roads, and completion of around 8,000 kilometers in second term, and over 6,600 kilometers are still ongoing. Some of the other projects or rather achievements is that now 13 million Kenyans are connected to clean water. And in 9 years, we have moved from being the 12th largest economy in Africa to the 6th largest, and still growing. And even here, when President Uhuru Kenyatta was talking about where we at as a country, he went further to highlight that, in as much as we have a high debt burden, it has helped us to move forward. According to the central bank, statistics indicate that 8.4 trillion shillings is the weight of Kenya's debt. burden as we speak. So it's just about looking at what was happening yesterday. That's what we have on the front page in this particular daily, and the headline goes, "This is my legacy." And that is President Kenyatta there, uses the final National Day to list his administration achievements. Then also we saw some politics play out yesterday. Now Ruto and Uhuru had somewhat of a cold war playing out in the public during that particular day. Allow me to just but quote what the critics noticed in that particular situation is that when he said yesterday the president's actions told of a man who was keen on avoiding a repeat embarrassments. Now, in attendance, we had President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, Sahel Work Zedwe of Ethiopia, and Salva Kiir of South Sudan. Now, during during the service, it's just like looking at what has been happening. The discord between Uhuru and Ruto has been playing out, especially after the barrier of Kibaki there, as well as during the national prayer breakfast, where the two leaders did not share a table. Now, yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta used that opportunity to detail his administration's achievements, and at the same time snub his deputy William Ruto, and went over to even campaign for his preferred candidate. What was keen to those who were there, see physically, to witness, and also the media houses that were broadcasting live, is that Ruto arrived minutes before his boss and was denied a chance to address the public and left out of the event lineup. Now, traditionally during these ceremonies, we have the president, the deputy president, and other dignitaries actually take to the podium and address the public, but this did not happen. And like in the 9 years past, contrary to the tradition, is that President Uhuru Kenyatta exposed a climax in what has been a cold relationship between the duo after he breached the Madaraka Day traditional protocol by allowing visiting Sierra Leone head of state Julius Maada Bio to give his speech. That was quite an anticipated move, and Mr. Kenyatta also commanded the events program soon after he was awarded the state honors to outstanding citizens. Now, I'm sure in the course of this week we are going to be looking at the implications of this. So I had just started off to highlight where the tiffs began. We started off with Kibaki's burial, and also we saw the national prayer breakfast, and this was actually done in attendance of other dignitaries drawn from South Africa, Ethiopia, and Salva Kiir over the last few months. So what was happening yesterday, there was a clear indication that the rift between the two gentlemen has widened with 68 days to the August 9th polls. Further details are still available on our website in regard to what transpired yesterday. But for now, we take a quick breather. We'll be back with more from the dailies.
Welcome back. Hashtag is still Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Official station handle is at KBC Channel 1, at Rayma Nyara, at Darina Range, at I am Mike Itahi, and at Jane Mboy is how you can also reach us individually across the social media platforms. We now continue with the papers just to give you more details of those stories that we had highlighted for you that have been featured on the front page. Before we get to, further dive into what the dailies have for us in regards to His Excellency's speech, of course, something that also Regina had already started us on. Let me just quickly take you over through this story here that is also on the front page of the Daily Nation concerning the list that EACC issued of aspirants with integrity flaws. I'm not going to mention all the names because there are so many, but in brief, the EACC now wants the electoral agency, IEBC, to not clear at least, they have mentioned 2 presidential aspirants, 1 running mate, over 60 gubernatorial aspirants, 6 Senate aspirants, 9 women rep hopefuls, 58 MPs, and 94 MCA aspirants due to integrity issues that are related to a range of crimes, including corruption, economic crime. We also have impeachment, those that have been charged with conflict of interest, abuse of office, money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud, economic crime once again, laundering has been mentioned again, the unlawful acquisition of public property, graft again, irregular payments to suppliers, as well as forgery of documents. These are just some of the crimes that these individuals are being accused of, which consequently stains their integrity when it comes to their capacity to take on leadership positions in our country. So you can read more of that. They go on to mention the names and the crimes that are associated to these individuals. Now, coming back to the president's speech yesterday, I'll pick one piece here concerning what His Excellency said in regards to the alarm over the rise in single-parent homes. All right? So he pegged this on the 2019 census, where single-family homes, single-parent homes, had risen to 38% from 25.1% in 2009. And of course, he went on to give a few reasons that were given as per the research and studies that have been done by different entities. Looking at one that was done in 2020, a study by 2 Canadian sociologists who showed that out of every 10 women in Kenya, 6 are likely to be single mothers by the age of 45. By the age of 45, yes. And this has been attributed to the birth of children before marriage and dissolution of marriages as well, consequently leading to women remaining with the children and men going on with their lives. They also blamed this trend on irresponsible fathers and peer pressure. Consequently, why we are seeing more single women led homes. And also, according to the Interreligious Council of Kenya, I'm going to read this as it has been written here. Another reason as to why we are seeing more and more single-parent home is the imbalance in development and more so empowerment. He goes on to say that, I'm quoting this, I'm not saying that it is wrong to empower women, but women being empowered means they can stand on their own and do as they wish. End of quote. He also went on to blame moral degradation on the pandemic, which led to so many teen pregnancies as well. And consequently, by the time these young girls are 45 years of age, at least 6 in every 10 of them will be a single parent. And this, of course, is a threat to the most vulnerable and a precious member of our society, as said by our president, our children. I don't know what you guys think about this.
I do not know why that empowerment issue always keeps coming out. I mean, for a
contrary to tradition,
I mean,
is what has been indicated.
Just away from the fact that's the Religious Council that talked about empowerment, was it?
The Interreligious Council, yes, of Kenya.
So aside from the religious body, so to speak, talking about empowerment, it has actually been a conversation amongst quite a majority of Kenyans, should I say, or even just quite amongst a majority of people, that empowerment of women is what is leading to that. And I can't reconcile that. Much as it's contrary to tradition, I just cannot reconcile how empowerment could be leading to this. I don't know. I just can't.
You know, what I find funny... Okay, here's the situation. A few years ago, we were talking about empowerment.
Mike, sorry to butt in. I just remember that we had this convo. Was it last Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were having this discussion with Doreen last Thursday, actually, after the show, about empowerment and all that. And it's quite interesting that, you know, a few years ago, we were talking about empowering the woman means empowering the nation. Mm-hmm. But now, you know, the tables have turned. The conversation is different. They're saying they're too empowered. They're making too many decisions. What does that mean? I don't understand, honestly speaking.
Regina
Really
is...
don't.
But the fact of the matter still remains there are more women-led single-parent homes than men-led single-parent homes.
But honestly speaking, I think it's not really about empowerment. I just think it's more about the morally, you know, it's a moral issue. It's more or less about, you know, are you cohabitating too early? Are you
I feel like
ready for this relationship? Are you ready to start a family? It's not really about empowerment. Empowerment means you're making better decisions because, you know, you're not tethered to someone. So the empowerment issue is something that to debate about.
It's Regina's face for me. It is. Wait.
No. But also looking at the fact that there's so many young girls who are having children at a very early age, and again, the fact that they're not married, which also lead to more single-parent homes. Regina, nimekurushia microphone.
You know, I want to bring out two aspects: enculturation and exposure over time. So, all of us here, we are like maybe second generation or third generation in our family lineage. And growing up, you're told that a morally upright woman is to get married, yeah, then have children, right? And that even when things go wrong, go onto your knees and pray for your husband, right? Yeah. Affirmative action came into play, and a majority of us have gone to school. So even a majority of women right now are working, right? So we have found out that if we work hard, we can actually make something. It doesn't mean that relationships don't work, but a woman at that point will be balancing her profession as well as balancing her home, because women are custodians of the home. Fine. Something goes wrong. Look at what happened. No one had anticipated with the COVID pandemic. The statistics already indicated that we have lost, a majority of Kenyans have lost their jobs. In homes where people have lost their jobs, there's been a push and pull in as far as matters of finances are concerned. Now let's come back to the moral issue that Mike has thrown their spanner into the works. On issues of morality, over years, over time, the society, being patrilineal and patriarchal for that matter, has always looked down upon a woman, that a woman is only to be seen and not heard. But with exposure that came with education and empowerment, so to speak, that we can now speak, that there's an avenue for a woman to come out and say, you know what, you're not going to be hitting me every day, or I do not like the way you treat me, or, you know, there is that platform. So women are, it's easier now for women to actually take a stand for their beliefs. And I don't like the way we put it, like now we have single mothers all over left, right, and center. No, it's not because women, I heard someone actually say it's because women have become empowered, they have become stubborn, they are no longer submissive. And whenever I hear these three words, lack of submission, I want to take them back to the good book, and that's the Bible, which I firmly believe in. We always talk about women and submission, that wife should submit to the husband. I feel as if I'm preaching. But rarely do we read the chapter, paragraph after. And it says, the husband shall love the wife as Christ loved the church.
It's actually before.
Let's define how Christ loved the church. And what is love in the good book? Love is patient, love is kind, and such. But what we fail to understand is that submission can only occur in love, not out of it. Anyway, now to bring this conversation to a close, now that you've made me do a small sum, it's not about empowerment. It's that now the exposure over time that women can actually stand up for what they believe is right is rubbing a section of society wrong. And that's why women have been demonized for taking a stand in things that are, you know, close to their heart. And we're going to see this for a while, because we're already having campaigns now, oh, the boy child has been left behind, oh, la, 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 la. But I want to take you back to also history and a bit of biology. We are all familiar with the natural law of selection.
Yes.
Right? Such that I remember in my biology we're told the reason why the giraffe's neck is as long as is, it's because it eats from the top of the tree. Yeah? So over years, as natural selection happens. Those that cannot reach to the top of the tree, they die off. So women have been at the bottom, and circumstances have pushed them at the top. You're not going to see women take a back seat, not in this lifetime.
Survival
anyway.
for the fittest.
Yes.
And
so
also,
the men have to also come together, coalesce together, and support the boy child, because he's also suffering.
Exactly. I'm so happy that you just said that, because, it is a Thursday, and part of the trending topics is Johnny Depp won the defamation case against Amber Heard. And just think about it from this perspective. Happily, we're all in agreement. It's not about the empowerment issue,
yes.
And, on the moral side of it, there's so many things to look at, and it's not just the women who are suffering. It is also the men, because, statistics are saying, the single households, the single parent households are mostly, women-led. But also, there's the other side of the coin where men are suffering in silence because they are men.
And, this whole conversation can just spiral and spiral and spiral. And so many factors come into play. But we're also living in a time where, even according to the laws of the land, when a couple separates, who is the default caregiver of these children?
Exactly.
It is the mother until they are 18. Unless it is proven that this mother does not have the capacity and capability to raise these children, that is when the father comes into play. And this is also one of the reasons as to why we're having so many women-led single-parent homes.
Yeah.
Even the law already just says, mtoto achiwe mamake. Baba enda, tafuta kenye utafanya. You move on with your life. And that's why I think empowerment becomes such a sensitive issue, because on one side, women are complaining, and end up moving on with his life. I have to figure things out for myself, and I'll do that by all means. All right? And then when you figure things out by all means, then the other partner starts complaining, or she was given this and this, she had an added advantage over me and this. And that's why empowerment becomes so diluted and misrepresented.
Well, empowerment. Yesterday I had a very interesting conversation with a gentleman who was telling me, what? I can never raise my children on remote control. And it hit me that that's a person who wants to be present in their children's lives. But if we look at the statistics, when you talk about single parent led
homes,
led homes, it also falls onto the other side, because we are all going through this phase of life. There's no manual as to how we live, and you'll find that there are single dads out there who are playing the role of being the father figure, and also to nurture their children. So it is a struggle. So for me, congratulations to those who are raising their children single-handedly, whether by design or default. Raising that little human takes a superhero kind of attitude. So
it can never be 50-50. It's supposed to be 100-100.
Yes. You can imagine those women who are mothers, then we live in neighborhoods and there's some scream somewhere. So technically, it's either you fight or take flight, right?
Or freeze.
Or freeze. So when that happens, they go into super mode. They're scared. They don't know what's going on. There's nothing they can do in terms of physical, but they're up trying to find out what is happening, Now, it's, I don't know. Congratulations to those who are doing it. Let's not demonize them or judge them for that matter.
Mother or father, by the way, you are a parent at the end of the day.
You're regardless a little human, or little humans, for that matter.
Let me just say this. Now, since we are sort of like on that craze of empowerment, much as we've agreed it's not the issue, there could be underlying factors. But again, also there's been that conversation of the fact that much as we are empowering women, is it at the expense of men? Because again, you would sit with quite a number of good men and they will tell you, or a number of men, so to speak, and they will tell you they can't match up now to the woman that is as is right now. Given the fact that, as you've mentioned, education, women are more exposed right now. They're even getting and taking position of leadership. When you look at the men right now, they can't match up to that, because when you look at the women of today, they can practically do everything. If it's pay rent, they can. If it's buying things in the house, they can. They sort of can do what was quote unquote traditionally men's roles. So when these two come together in form of, you know, the union, marriage, or that solid relationship, then it brings or it breeds that form of misunderstanding, because they can't match to that. So then just pause. They can't match to that, because they can actually do everything. So now the question has become, is it now that roles are being reversed?
No. You know, Doreen, Regina, even by virtue of just being a man and a woman, one thing that people always want to just force is that man and woman are equal.
But they're not.
And that's a fact.
And they
Even
can never
when you
be.
look at the brain of a man and a woman, scientifically speaking, men have a bigger brain than women. What role, does empowerment have any role there? Physically speaking, look at a man and a woman. We can never be equal. It's about elevating each other, not at the expense of the other person, to complement each other.
You know,
now what I was saying is the fact that when you look at how these two things are, is the question of, good men would say, women now want to be equal to men, and we are now agreeing that men and women can never be equal in whatever way. They can never. So men will tell you that women now want to be equal to us because they want to do what we can do. They want to be the ones providing, so to speak. They want to be the one making the decisions. When this was, quote unquote, if I could say, roles that were men's. So men will tell you women want to be the same as us, and we can never be equal.
Now that's the misrepresentation that is there about empowerment.
I feel as if I need to, like, you know, yes. Well, when it comes to equality, we cannot be equal. Male, female, we can't be equal. And even when we're talking about affirmative action, it's not about being equal. It's about creating a platform where all genders can get equal opportunities. If you qualify to be an engineer, let not your sex cut you off. That is it. It's about creating a platform where opportunities are up for the picking from either gender. Now let's come up to the relationship setup. In as much as I may have a PhD, I may earn amount X, Y, Z. Inherently as it is, there's no woman who doesn't need a man. That's the truth. Because in as much as these men are saying now, oh, women, what they want to do our roles, women don't want to do those roles, but they find themselves doing those roles because of the situation they find themselves in. But you as a man, if you put your best foot forward, yes, and in as much as your person is earning more than you, I'm sure there's something that you do better than her. Complement each other and elevate each other. It's not about this person doing better than the other. It's about, where are you going? Is the vision solid? Is a vision solid? It's not about, you're not in competition. A relationship should not be a competition, actually. Who are you competing with?
Each other.
It's teamwork. So when men say, oh, women want to do, women want to do X, Y, Z, what are you doing? What are you doing to show that woman that she doesn't have to? She doesn't have to, that she can do other things. You know, that conversation, that is a defeatist for me, and this is entirely my opinion. It is a defeatist attitude to try and bring down or demonize a woman's profession, education,
achievements.
And achievements. Don't demonize them. You're supposed to be proud that the person you're with.
I don't have much to say because, the thing is, I'm very, very happy that, I'm in the company of enlightened women. So I don't have really much to say, honestly, in response to that. Even with regard to, because I'm a boy child, because I think you've done that for me very, very eloquently. So, yes.
Let the men be leaders. Let the man up. Let the man up.
And also, as we bring this to a close, Ray,
yes.
This whole front stage front seat that we have had when it comes to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard has changed perceptions around who can be the victim, or who is the victim, not can be, who is the victim. And you cannot say it's about empowerment in such a situation, because that has no effect there. It's about the individuals, who they are, and what has happened. Nothing to do with their gender.
Yes.
If a man leads, who are you to ngangana with them leading?
I would say also empower the boy as much as we are doing the girls. Let's not leave them behind. Let it be.
Kwa hayo mengine mafupi.
But then there's something beautiful about a woman who wants a man but doesn't need them. It's a high time we looked at that. Like, we want, but we don't need.
For this and more, follow hashtag Regina Talks on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram all day, every day. But we have to take a very quick breather. We have so much lined up for you here on Good Morning Kenya. Keep checking in. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. We have some dope interviews coming up with at I am Mike Gitahi and Adorina Rangi. So shoot through your questions, your requests. We'll be getting to them in just a bit. For now, a quick breather. We'll be right back.